Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Got another jam-packed show for you today. But maybe we'll address something I keep hearing that people keep asking me. Republicans, right-leaning people, continue to ask things like, Pat, do you think President Trump is going too far with all that he's doing? And maybe you've even been wondering that yourself. But here's the thing on that particular concern. President Trump has seen exactly what we have been seeing happen to our society for decades now, but especially over the last 4 years. And he knows he only has a short time to try to fix what the cultural Marxists have broken. Think about all of this stuff before January 20th of this year. Everything that's happened to this country, how far left that we've come in such an incredibly short time. It is absolutely, it's astounding. It's breathtaking. Things like abortion. Democrats used to say that abortion needed to be legal, safe, and rare. Right? We heard that all the time. It needed to happen in the first trimester. That's what Roe v. Wade allowed. Now they celebrate abortion. They love abortion to the point where they now trumpet their abortions from the rooftops. They insist that they're being persecuted. Their rights are being taken away if they can't have abortions up to and including the day of birth. As far as immigration is concerned, we were having 10 to 12,000 people a day that we knew nothing about, by the way, flooding into our country, stealing our identities, committing fraud. Some were committing violent crimes. It was absolutely out of control. He acted so quickly on that and has been fought every step of the way on that. I mean, you remember gay rights? What was the battle cry 15 years ago? They wanted to marry the person they loved, right? Okay, you got that. That's done. Did that solve the issues that LGBTQIA2 plus people had? No. Because for the radicals in that movement, that was never the ultimate goal. And now we're in a place where everyone must celebrate gayness. It doesn't matter who you are or what you believe. You need to be waving pride flags, participating in gay parades. Gay relationships are on every TV show, every movie, every commercial. And that's a must. I mean, Hollywood has to do that. And if you disagree or don't wholeheartedly support their every move, you're a hateful, despicable person who needs to be canceled. And separate but adjacent to that, the trans movement. I mean, just identify as something, and that makes you that thing. And everybody else must also accept, embrace, and promote that thing that you now believe you are. To the extent that we can't even identify what a woman is anymore. And if you're a biological woman who has a problem with a biological man and his dangling unit in your bathroom or your locker room, you are the problem. You are the person who needs psychiatric help and must conform. And how dare you even hint that biological males have any sort of special advantage when it comes to a male who decides he wants to dominate in a woman's sport of his choice. And if you whine about that, again, you're the problem. You got to be fixed. So President Trump, like the rest of us, sees all of these things going on, and he knows he only has maybe just 2 years. And then the midterms could change everything and just bring about stalemate in Washington. I mean, he's seen the death and destruction and talks about it almost every day in Ukraine, and he desperately wants to end it, believing he has the skills necessary to bring both sides together and reach a decent agreement. And all he gets for those efforts is grief, ridicule, more hatred. They can't stand the fact that he's trying to bring peace to Ukraine and Russia. I mean, the Houthi problem, look at the Houthi problem he has dealt with. The Israeli Hamas messages or mess that we have. The hostages, the absolute unrest going on all over the world. We had Pakistan and India at each other's throats, and he brought that to a peaceful situation within about a day. Economically now, he had to get inflation under control. He has. We have a debt burden that will eventually crush us. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We could talk all day about the way our society has spiraled out of control. And, he's got to deal with Democrats and a media that hate his guts and make that his every move incredibly difficult, and a judicial system that tries to stop every single move he makes. So do I think he's gone too far? No, I don't. I'm willing to give him some leeway right now and see what happens.
And that's to say nothing of his own party, his do-nothing Congress, that refuses to codify his...
Yep.
What are we up to? 137 something, I think I read yesterday. Executive orders. It seems like it'd be more than that at this point. But anyhow, you got a Congress that's doing nothing to solidify.
And all that has to be codified into law, or it'll all be changed under the next guy.
Yeah. And in fact, yesterday's court, it's the second story there underneath there, Pat. What's I've never heard of this court. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the U.S. Court of International Trade.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I just became aware of them, too, just recently. The U.S. Court of International Trade yesterday blocked the tariffs that have been imposed by President Trump. Wait, what? Wait. Okay.
It's the international, what is it?
U.S. Court of International Trade. Yeah. So that deals as the article says, potentially serious blow to the Republican president's economic agenda and ongoing efforts to negotiate deals with various nations. Here he is in the middle of all of this. And it's working, by the way. It is working. Everybody came to the table. Everybody is trying to negotiate with us. Everybody knows that they've got to improve the trade situation with the U.S. because everybody wants us as customers. So he's on that. It's working. And then the U.S. Court of International Trade shuts it down. That's incredible. Inconceivable.
And it would be nice if this Republican Congress that we gave power to
would help
him, and also would help with the DOGE cuts. We would like those to become permanent, please. Mike Johnson.
Yep. Yes, please.
Boy, I feel so bad for Elon Musk right now. Yeah, even the world's richest guy, I still feel badly for him.
I do too.
He spent $250 million. We've talked about this.
He's been beaten to a pulp.
Right. His businesses have suffered.
Yep.
And he's got to be just like, we have a clip later, but he's got to be just beside himself. But welcome to politics.
Welcome.
Isn't it fun?
And that's what he's realized. That's why he just said the other day, he's done with politics.
Yeah.
I'm done donating to all you people. Well, that got their attention, though. Did you see that? Now they're getting together and saying, wait, we're going to do this other separate bill, and we're going to get some tax cut. I mean, not tax cut, but cuts in spending. Oh, are you? Are you now? Yeah, because he threatened their campaign funds. So,
yep.
Good for him for getting their attention.
Yeah. But in spite of all this that you just set up with, the Americans actually...
this is amazing.
Isn't it, though?
It's amazing, yeah. For the first time in the history of Rasmussen Reports polling, a majority of Americans believe the country's on the right track. Ha! A majority has never agreed that we were on the right track.
Isn't that weird?
That's amazing.
We're just a depressed, beaten down, sullen lot after dealing with the kind of politicians we've dealt with for decades. Yes,
it's true. That's really true. So 50% of likely voters say the country is on the right track. 45% saying wrong track. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. It shows what kind of job he has done so far. It really does, because he's got nothing but negative coverage from all the media except for, a few podcasts and Fox News. That's about it.
And just think of us, Pat, Keith, Jeffy, Chris, everybody. Just think of us as individuals in the last 6 months. Just where we're at mentally as far as the direction of this country.
Yeah.
And you amplify that, and there's your poll.
Right.
Because we were under the thumb of a dark Marxist regime.
Sure were.
That called us out and wanted us not even a part of the process.
The hell speech.
Remember that? The MAGA is...
He gave the speech directly from hell.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, it looks like it.
It sure does.
Jeez.
I'm your nightmare.
You are, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And, wow. It turns out all we needed was a new president, end quote.
Does turn out that way. So the year kicked off with 29% of Americans saying the country, okay, this isn't, you might say, well, the Rasmussen report, come on, they're always friendly to Trump. Even in their poll, it was 29% saying that the country was on the right track at the beginning of the year. 62% said it was on the wrong track. And now look at how things have flipped around. That's amazing. That is amazing. 50-45, he's 5% above water now with right track, wrong track.
That's incredible. Yeah.
First time ever.
But that will flip on its head if the Republicans continue to squander this power.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Midterms will come, and then before you know it, it's 2028, and it's all Democrats all the time.
And again, Trump knows all this. And this is why he's taking the decisive and amazing actions that he's taken so far. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. And I've never seen anything like the judicial effort to stop him. That's never happened, in the history of our nation. We had some numbers on that a couple of weeks ago, and it was far and away the judicial blocks against Trump have already exceeded like 8 years of Obama. I mean, it's unbelievable. All 4 years of Biden, they don't do this.
Yeah, if you don't think that they are singling him out, I don't want to hear rule of law when it comes to Trump, because that's not the tack that these judges are taking, these courts, like we just mentioned. It's because of Trump that they're making these rulings. It's pathetic.
And again, we do this for a living. I've never even heard of the U.S. Court of International Trade. I've never heard of it. And all of a sudden, their fat face has been jammed into this issue. So, with that backdrop, yesterday at the White House, President Trump addressed the latest breaking news, where we stand with Vladimir Putin and Russia and ending the war in Ukraine.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, who's doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. That I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now, where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed.
Yep. It is disappointing because, he really believed that this was going to happen quickly. And he's finding that going a little bit tougher than he thought, because you're dealing with unreasonable people like Vladimir Putin and even Zelensky to a certain extent. I mean, Zelensky, I don't know what he thinks, how the outcome of this is going to be what he imagines it to be, where he thinks he's not only going to get back every bit of his territory, but also Crimea, which he lost 11 years ago. Hello? You guys didn't even put up a fight for it. That happened 11 years ago. Now you want that and you insist on that as part of the solution here? Well, that's going to make it impossible.
Yeah. And Putin now wants and I don't blame him, he wants a written letter from Western leaders that Ukraine is not going to join NATO.
Yeah.
And
which we promised a long time ago.
Sure, absolutely. And then he wants...
That one is reasonable.
Right.
That's a reasonable, and we've used the example a million times of Cuba. If Cuba and Russia had a big-time war alliance, protection alliance, defense alliance, and it was headquartered in Cuba, would we appreciate that? In fact, that we went through that in 1962, so we know we wouldn't appreciate that.
So, obviously, as this thing begins to feel more and more uneasy, and boy, you just, where this thing ends, who knows? But I want you to, these are the list of demands from Putin. I want you to see if you're good with the U.S. going to stop any of these from happening, sending our young men and women. So we got he wants the letter about Ukraine not joining NATO. He wants
reasonable
Moldova and Georgia. He doesn't want them to join NATO as well.
Okay,
like who cares, right?
Right.
Sorry, it's on you.
Like we've been waiting for that superpower Moldova for all these years to finally make us complete in NATO. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Sanctions lifted on Russia.
Okay.
Unfreezing of Russian assets, and of course the 4 Russian-speaking regions of Ukraine to be a part of Russia. I don't know about you, but my son, I don't want him. I don't want anyone's sons here in America to go and fight for this stuff.
Well, no, and that's the only scenario under which Ukraine could possibly win is if American troops are involved. That's it, and that's not going to happen. I mean, I hope. I would think. I think we're kind of united on that. We don't want a war with Russia that leads to World War III.
And Trump's absolutely right. Hey, Putin, why don't you calm down? Let's stop lobbing missiles into major cities while we negotiate and figure this stuff out. Not helpful at all.
Yeah. He's screwing up the situation on purpose, it seems. All right. Then we're going to talk about another part of the world here in just a second. But first of all, let me tell you about real estate agents I trust. Because anytime in life, you've got to make these big decisions on your house when you're selling it or you're buying it, you're relocating, so you're doing both. There's so many decisions to make, and it's really stressful. And, how do you know what you're going to get your money back from? Replacing countertops, remodeling kitchens and bathrooms, and all this stuff that everybody says, oh, you got to do that to sell your house. Well, you may or may not. I don't know. But your real estate agent does. If you get your real estate agent from Real Estate Agents I Trust, because these are people with really great, successful resumes. They've done it before. They can market your home. They know what people are looking for, and they'll give you great advice and relieve that stress on you. So we just set you up for free with a great realtor, and then the rest is up to you. Real Estate Agents I Trust. The name says it all. realestateagentsitrust.com.
Now, more of Pat Gray Unleashed.
So, as far as Israel and Hamas, another area where Trump is trying desperately to bring about peace, they might be getting closer to that. Here's Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff.
I think that we are on the precipice of sending out a new term sheet that hopefully will be delivered later on today. The president is going to review it, and I have some very good feelings about getting to a long-term resolution, temporary ceasefire, and a long-term resolution, a peaceful resolution of that conflict.
Wow, that'd be big. That would be huge. I hope they can make it happen. That's a tough one.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
President Trump was asked about a phone call that he had with Netanyahu last week. Here's what he said about that.
Did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question, please. I did, yeah.
If Senate Republicans want to push...
It's not a warning. I said I don't think it's appropriate.
Thank you.
What exactly did you tell him?
I just said I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him, and I said I don't think it's appropriate right now. Because if we can settle it with a very strong document, very strong, with inspections and no trust. I don't trust anybody. So no trust. I want it very strong where we can go in with inspectors. We can take whatever we want. We can blow up whatever we want, but nobody getting killed. We can blow up a lab, but nobody's going to be in the lab, as opposed to everybody being in the lab and blowing it up, right? Two ways of doing it. I told him this would be inappropriate.
I think he's referring to taking out Iranian nuclear capability here, right? That's what that was about. I don't think that has to do with the Hamas situation, but that's about the Iranian nukes. So are we, you're going to tell people, okay, we're going to blow up your lab, and so you better evacuate. And then it's kind of up to them whether they evacuate or not. I mean, supposedly, they've got pretty hardened areas where they're developing their nukes, but we have pretty amazing bombs that can drill their way down to the lab, even if it's hardened, even if it's under 8 feet of concrete, we can still take that out.
Or we could send the Moab, the mother of all bombs, and deal with that.
Could do that, yeah. Hopefully we won't have to. And I think he'd like to avoid that. All right, let him finish here.
This would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment, could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal. And if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
He does seem concerned about that. Talks about it all the time, saving lives. And the left they don't care. They don't care how many people are dying in any of these issues around the world. Couldn't care less. If they could, they would have been doing something about it before now. But all they can do is throw a monkey wrench into this process and try to stop Trump at every turn. Also, closer to home, there's the Harvard situation, which is always fun. They think they're entitled to every penny that we have. I don't know how that mindset happened. Well, I do. Democrat rule. And so that is really a hardcore belief at Harvard now, that they're entitled to our taxpayer dollars. But President Trump talked about the Harvard thing yesterday.
How will the confrontation with Harvard end? Do you foresee?
I don't know. I don't know. Harvard's got to behave themselves. Harvard is treating our country with great disrespect, and all they're doing is getting in deeper and deeper and deeper. They've got to behave themselves. I'm looking out for the country and for Harvard. I want Harvard to do well. I want Harvard to be great again, probably, because how could it be great? How could it be great when you have Harvard announced 2 weeks ago that they are going to teach remedial mathematics, meaning they're going to teach low-grade mathematics, like 2 + 2 is 4. How did these people get into Harvard if they can't do basic mathematics? How did they do it? I mean, people with 1,600 in their boards don't get in, and they're letting people in, and they're bragging about how they're teaching them basic mathematics. Where did these people come from? So we have to look at the list, and Harvard has to understand the last thing I want to do is hurt them. They're hurting themselves. They're fighting. Columbia has been they were very, very bad what they've done. They're very anti-Semitic and lots of other things. But they're working with us on finding a solution.
Interesting.
And, they're taking off that hot seat. But Harvard wants to fight. They want to show how smart they are, and they're getting their ass kicked.
That's true.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah. I mean, Harvard is saying what he is doing is unconstitutional, as if they have a constitutional right to taxpayer funds. That's like saying, we're going to sue you for canceling your Blaze subscription because it's unconstitutional for you. In fact, it's worse than that because we don't have any choice in where our taxpayer dollars go after we give them to the government. Then the government just chooses to give them to Harvard. And I don't want a single penny of mine going to Harvard. But if we were to sue anybody for not subscribing to the Blaze, how preposterous would that be? That's exactly what's happening here, though. They really believe they're entitled to this money. It's staggering. He also talked about foreign students at Harvard.
I want to make sure that the foreign students are people that can love our country. We don't want to see shopping centers exploding. We don't want to see the kind of riots that you had. And I'll tell you what, many of those students didn't go anywhere. Many of those students were troublemakers caused by the radical left lunatics in this country.
Yep. Yep.
So true.
Then what about, something we brought up many times, the Harvard Endowment, which is massive.
See, look, Harvard has been a disaster. They've taken $5 billion plus. $5 billion. Nobody knew that they were making this kind. If we didn't do this, nobody would have. We would have never found this out, Pam. They're taking $5 billion, and I'd rather see that money go to trade schools. And by the way, they're totally anti-Semitic at Harvard, as you know, and some other colleges too. In all fairness to them, and it's been exposed, very exposed. And I think they're dealing very badly. Every time they fight, they lose another $250 million. Yesterday, we found another $100 million. And they have, they have a fund, an endowment, $52 billion.
I think it's 53.
All right? They get a lot of that from the United States. And I think it's ridiculous. I think everyone's coming up to me saying, we love the idea of trade schools with that kind of money and money from others, but money from them. You can have the best trade schools anywhere in the world. You give them to Iowa, Indiana, lots of good states, well-run states, and you give them the money. They can only be used for trade schools, and they'll teach people how to build motors and cars and AI.
Makes sense, doesn't it? You never think of the Harvard Endowment as probably coming from the federal government money that they've received over the years. You think, okay, well, they're, their alma mater, their graduates are all successful, right? And they donate to the university when they want to. I'll bet most of that is from the federal government. Yeah. I mean, the $5 billion that are in question now, $5 billion? What are you going to do with all that? Well, they're going to put it in their endowment.
Yeah, and Mike Rowe was on Chris Cuomo. Boy, he made a great point about this endowment stuff. We got time.
The Ivy League, I'm sorry to say, has beclowned themselves in recent months, and Harvard has led the beclowning. Part of what I love about the president's post is the fact that it's going to force conversations like this one. And a lot of taxpayers, Chris, for the first time, are going to realize that the Harvard Corporation is sitting on a $54 billion endowment. Their president is currently screaming that this post and the idea that they could lose their tax-exempt status and some of these grants and tax money, the idea that that could happen are, in his words, unconstitutional. Yeah. Now, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I think he's mistaken. And I think that the optics here are terrible. And the first shoe to drop is going to be a gobsmacking realization on the part of a lot of regular Americans that this university is already sitting on $54 billion.
Yeah, thank you.
What the actual hell does that even mean? So get past that. And then ask yourself, well, why then would you want to give all that money to another bunch of schools? There's nothing magical about trade schools. I love them, but they're great ones and okay ones and some that fall below, right? So what we need as a people, as taxpayers, is some kind of means testing. You can't just give money to schools any more than you can give it to any random person because they need it or want it or have dreamt of it. So really, if you got $3 billion to close the skills gap, set aside a big chunk for a national scholarship program. Carve away a little bit of that to build an infrastructure that can evaluate the individuals on their merit. Right? And then carve away a bigger chunk to start telling the stories and making a more persuasive case for the 7.6 million open jobs that exist right now, most of which don't require a 4-year degree.
Mike Rowe's a national treasure, isn't he? Have you ever heard anything from him that you disagree with? I don't know that I have. So. Ever. That guy should run for office.
Well, remember, he was on the short list for vice president. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. That would not have been a bad pick. I mean, I love JD Vance. Right. But Mike Rowe would have been fine, too. 888-900-3393.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Some tweets here. V-Dutch Mermaid tweets, the LGBTQ RST movement is about the money, too. If they've achieved the goal, there's no reason to keep collecting money. So the goalposts just keep being moved. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Dimples, U.S. Court of International Trade. Didn't they open for INXS back in 1991?
Wait, no, I'm sorry. They weren't good enough to open for INXS, which, by the way, I think needs to be on our Rock and Roll Hall of Fame jihad as well.
Oh, yeah, they're not in?
Yeah.
Are they not in?
They are not in.
Oh, wow.
I'm gauging your response over there. I want to make sure that you...
No, I'm on board with INXS, yeah. All right. Adrian Slade, do you really need a midterm election to cause congressional stalemates for Trump's administration? How about just a regular Republican majority? You're right.
That's fair.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. The Pickled Squirrel tweets, if Harvard can't figure out what is constitutional, then why should anyone hire a Harvard Law School graduate? Yeah.
I was looking up some fun facts here. The foreign students. Guess how many? Do you want to play this game? Guess how many foreign students are going to school right now in the United
Harvard?
States? In the United States.
In the whole U.S.
Yeah, I don't know about Harvard specifically.
20,000.
1.1 million.
Oh my God!
Over that, north of that, actually.
Oh my!
I just rounded off. Guess how many of them are from China?
Oh jeez. 500,000.
277,000.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Holy cow.
Isn't that incredible?
Guess how many of those are Chinese spies sent here by the communist Chinese government?
Oh, I've got a guess. Okay. 276,000.
Yes. Congratulations.
By the way, those numbers also include the foreign exchange program, because the student that I'm supposed to get from France, she might not come to the United States because of the pauses on the J-1 visas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we are not going to get a phone call with her sometime today to see has she gotten a call back from the embassy.
How do they win that lottery to live with Chris Cruz when they come to America? How do they?
Yeah, how does that happen? And beyond that, why do you do this so often? If I might be so bold as to ask.
I like to host people.
You just like to host people.
Have you ever been over there to his house, Pat?
I have never been. No, Chris Cruz has never invited me to his house.
Then I guess there's a hole in that story. Next explanation, please.
Oh, the tax breaks. My God.
Okay, there we go.
Are there
we got there.
tax breaks?
$300.
How much?
Building it.
$300.
$300. Like for the year?
You retiring now?
I'm banking.
Obviously.
You are making big bank then. $300.
I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, but obviously
we put you on the spot, so I apologize.
Generational wealth. That's why you're hosting students.
A quick correction. I apologize for misspeaking there before we went to the break.
Dumb bastard.
I know. Stupid, right? Remember when Mike Rowe was in the airport here in Dallas?
Yeah.
And he saw his name on the vice presidential hopefuls? I think I said Trump before the break.
I think you did.
It was Robert Kennedy.
Right.
He was considering him.
Man, are you stupid?
Which, in hindsight... And that would have been a formidable ticket right there.
Sure, no need to be rude, Pat.
Okay. RFK and Mike Rowe.
That's a good ticket.
Yeah, that would have been
a lot of common sense going on there.
I'm so glad. That's the thing. Your Robert Kennedy supporters have got to love what Trump has empowered Kennedy to do over at HHS. And that's where some waves are really being made, I think.
Yep.
Yippers.
He's making us at least consider things that nobody was considering in America before. We just accepted all the food that we're presented, all the processed stuff that makes our life so much simpler. And now we're starting to take a look at it and think, is that good for me? I don't. Should I be wondering? Should I maybe think about some changes in my diet? Yeah, it's possible. I think people are starting to ask those questions.
Don't
now.
try to have that conversation with Stu, though.
No. Stu loves chemicals.
Give me my high fructose corn syrup in a can, like just straight up.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't water it down, neither. I don't know why Stu is now talking like he's from
like
my hometown. Okay,
but he's not. So, so Elon Musk posted this on X yesterday. as my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. Yeah. I'd love to wholeheartedly say, yeah, that's right, Elon. But I'm sorry, I don't believe that. It will not strengthen over time. Instead, it will fade and go away.
But you
that's
mentioned
what I'm afraid of.
Remember when you said earlier today, because I believe what you just said is, it's going to die on the vine. It's not going to become a thing. Republicans are trash. The end. Mm-hmm. But then you mentioned something earlier where you're like, wait, he's getting out of politics. The Republicans are like, wait, no, don't take your money away. We'll put some DOGE stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mike Johnson is actually, there's like a little pulse there. That maybe they'll codify some of this stuff long term.
Sure hope so.
But, got to get
back to
from vacation first, their GOP.
And when is that? Do we know?
Next week.
Okay. And, speaking of the massive spending in Washington, here's what Elon said about that.
So, I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly. Which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
Mm-hmm. I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both.
Amen.
My personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's something to that. Unfortunately, there is something to that. I love the Occupy Mars T-shirt he's wearing. We can't even get there, let alone occupy it. Has he said when the goal is for that? I know that wasn't the point of this discussion, but the T-shirt has set me off now. And I would love for us to get to Mars. It just looks further away all the time instead of closer.
Well, let me ask his baby Grok.
All right.
And let's just see.
Let's just see what the new goal for putting human feet on Mars is.
Okay, let's see. 2026, we're going to have 5 uncrewed Starship missions to Mars.
Okay.
2028, that's SpaceX, by the way. 2028, 29.
So no crew.
Yeah, right.
We're just sending probes again.
And if those 5 landings succeed, the first crew missions could follow within 4 years.
Within 4 years. That pushes it to...
so hold on
2032?
No. This is, okay, the way it's worded. 2029 looks like the earliest we could have humans setting foot on Mars.
2029.
2031, it says, if challenges arise, crewed missions might be postponed to 2031.
Yeah, there's certain windows.
2050, colony, self-sustaining colony by 2050.
All right. Okay. And the reason the windows are different, like 2029, why not then just do it 2030? No, you got to wait till Mars is closer again. That's part of the problem, is the orbits of both planets have to be taken into account.
Wow. He wants 1 million people on Mars by 2054.
1 million?
Yeah, and half of them were
How long would
offspring
that take?
Direct from Elon himself, apparently. So there you go.
1 million people by 2054, and we haven't even set foot on that planet yet.
How old's Elon Musk?
You said his 50s. What, 54 maybe? 53? Somewhere in there?
Well, he'd be around.
Yeah, he'd be around. All right. One of the differences between the Trump and Biden administrations is their stance on cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Where is Bitcoin now, today? Because 2 days ago when we talked about this, it was at 110,000 per coin.
Yeah, let's see what we're at now.
Shoot. 108?
There's been some people taking some profits. We're just tickling 109 right now.
Okay.
So we're hovering. We're staying right there.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, Vice President Vance had a lot to say about the cryptocurrencies.
After 4 years of mistreatment and outright hostility led by Democrat regulators, lawmakers in this country have a choice. Will we lead our nation into a future of financial sovereignty, of innovation, and of prosperity, or will we let unelected bureaucrats and foreign competitors write the rules for us? And I'm here today to say loud and clear, with President Trump, crypto finally has a champion and an ally in the White House.
Yeah.
I actually believe that. Yeah. Trump has been steadfast.
He has. He has.
Yeah.
He's by far been the best leader we've had on cryptocurrency so far. He had more to say about that. We'll get to it in just a second. First, last week, I told you about a major sale Jace is running, and was supposed to end on Memorial Day, but everybody's been wanting to get their hands on these incredible deals. The ivermectin for just $1 as an add-on to the Jace case. The set of emergency medications, $25 off the Jace case, $50 off your second Jace case or your kid case. So they decided to extend the sale so that everybody can get these life-saving medications at their most affordable prices. I love the Jace case. It has come in handy multiple times for me. When I didn't have access to my doctor or a pharmacy and got sick, there were the antibiotics in the Jace case. If you're prepared, it just makes life so much better. So don't miss this sale. It ends on Friday. You go to jace.com, enter the promo code PAT at checkout, and get that discount on your order. That's promo code PAT, PAT, at JASE, jace.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed now continues.
All right, so here's some more that JD Vance had to say about crypto.
In this administration, we do not think that stablecoins threaten the integrity of the United States dollar. Quite the opposite.
Less enthusiastic about that, because I think they want to replace it.
We view them as a force multiplier of our economic might. Dollar-pegged stablecoins, particularly once Genius is enacted, is only going to help the American economy, and it's only going to help the American dollar.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are the stable coins? I really don't know. I think it's Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum. Is that it? Do you know, Chris? I'm asking Chris.
No, but that sounds about right.
Can't get a
Those are the ones that I
tax
have.
credit on that, so you don't care. Okay. Yeah. I just, you're getting into some crypto, right? You're going to be making some purchases real soon.
Very soon. I'm going to wait till it goes up to 200,000. And then I'm going to buy one 1,000th of one.
Okay, so you buy high and then sell low.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay, it's not
buy
golf.
200,000, and then when it plummets to 3,000.
It's not crypto golf.
It's not? Oh, I thought that.
We'll talk after the show.
Okay.
We'll get you an account. But they better. Companies like Coinbase got hacked a couple of weeks ago. That is like the ultimate nightmare right there. That's why you got to.
I thought that was virtually impossible.
Right. That's why you got to keep your crypto in your own little wallet instead of a place like Coin. Anyway.
But also, JD made it clear that cryptocurrencies are here to stay.
The consistent fear that I hear is that there's still this perception that digital assets are not welcome in the mainstream economy. And let me promise you that our effort to change the policy is purely about changing that. We want our fellow Americans to know that crypto and digital assets, and particularly Bitcoin, are part of the mainstream economy and are here to stay.
Here to stay.
Okay.
There you go. Now, if this were a different administration, God forbid, or thank God that it wasn't, this speech would not be about crypto and the future of that. It would be the future of a central bank digital currency. Here to stay. That's what that speech would be about.
Yeah, they've been great on this issue. Really have been great. And it's hard to please everybody on cryptocurrency. It's hard to please everybody on immigration. You can't please everybody on abortion. So when you take a strong stand, you're gonna get fire from some people. And they've really weathered that storm quite well. And the American people are seeing through the smokescreen that is being put up by the media and trying to bash this president and everything he's doing, not just on cryptocurrency, but every single move he's making is being radically opposed. And you got the judiciary all over him every minute of every day, and judicial branches that nobody's even heard of. So So my hat's off to them and they're out there and they're defending their positions really strongly. And that's what you have to do. And I think that's why they continue to do well in polls, because they're not just taking it. Remember when George W. Bush was in office? They just sat back and pretty much took the beating that was given. And they weren't good at explaining their position on many, many things. And that's why we never got any kind of reform in the Social Security realm, which was a brilliant plan to privatize if you wanted to, or not privatize if you don't want to. Keep your government plan, or you could privatize. Or you could privatize part and keep part of your government plan. Well, how did that go away? Because they weren't good at explaining it. They just sat back and said, oh, you're going to end Social Security benefits. No, we're not going to allow it. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So that brilliant plan went away and cost Americans dearly.
And that's the thing about Donald Trump. Policies aside, just forget about any policy by Bush, Trump, anyone. The fact that he communicates and speaks just normal,
doesn't take it
right, and he reacts if the narrative is being painted differently than the reality. He is quick to correct the media to their face.
He is,
and that is something that Republican voters and those who vote for Republicans have been in the desert wandering, looking for someone to articulate. Please,
yeah.
Now, is Donald Trump conservative on every issue? Absolutely not. But boy, there's no question on where he stands on issues. He makes sure that if the press is feeding you something that isn't accurate about him,
he's going to tell you, and he's going to tell them.
Right, and
I love that.
Like Bush would just never engage.
Right,
he would just go hide somewhere.
Right.
It's like, what the hell, bro? Get out there. Why is everyone... And even it got to the point where I remember Rush Limbaugh on his show once saying, I'm tired of carrying the water for the Republican Party.
Exactly, yeah.
And he doesn't have to do that with Trump. We don't have to do that.
No, and I think he loved that about Trump.
Yeah.
Well, I know he did. And so do I. And again, that's why he's keeping his head above water with these policies, even though he's got continual negative coverage on everything. I mean, with ABC News, I think the number is 95% negative coverage. It's not even neutral. It's 95% negative, and I think the rest, the other 5%, is neutral. So he doesn't get any positive coverage from them, and that's why he dislikes them so much right now. It's even worse than CNN, but everybody's in the 90 percentile range.
Yeah,
with negative coverage on him.
Just imagine what he could get done with fair coverage.
Oh, my. All right, much more coming up.
China.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
I was just thinking, how long's it been since I had a really delicious steak? It's been too long. It's been like 4 days, and I need to do something about that today.
And that's too
about
long?
4 days.
That's like torture.
Way
man.
too long. It's time for tri-tails. Get that out, thaw one, throw it on the grill. The only thing worse than the lab-grown meat they're talking about is the grocery store beef, pretending to be the real thing. I don't know about you, but the last steak I got from the grocery store, I think the packaging had more flavor than the steak itself. Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
It's tough. It's not tasty. What I love is tri-tails will not disappoint. They never have let me down. It's embarrassing that they've entrusted you with the tongs. Grilling, that's our sacred duty. So you want your steak. You want to eat beef that tastes like it came from a pasture, not a petri dish. Fortunately, there's Tri-Tails beef. Tri-Tails beef is the real thing. Texas ranch, family-run, pasture-raised, grain-finished, black Angus beef. It isn't just another label in the meat aisle. And, even when they say it comes from the USA, it might just be packaged in the USA. So it's just a trick they play so they can just pawn imported beef off on you as if it were raised here in the U.S. It's not. But Tri-Tails is. And they have a genuine love that you can genuinely taste for their product. From the marbling to the tenderness to that rich, clean flavor. Tri-Tails beef stands up to anything out there. And if that's not enough to get you excited about Tri-Tails, let me tell you about their latest special. Go to trybeef.com, TRYBEEF, trybeef.com/Pat Gray. You'll get a free pack of steak tips with orders over $249. So that's just for being one of our listeners. Feed your family the good stuff, and they'll thank you for it. That's Trybeef, TRYBEEF, trybeef.com/Pat Gray.
Damn. Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Grammy Tamara tweets, Elon Musk has so many kids that his descendants will be in the millions. He can populate Mars with his family tree. Yeah, all by himself. He can pretty much do that. Rowdy introvert. So what you're saying is that Elon wants the same number of people on Mars in 2054 as we have students from other countries studying in the United States in 2024.
Let's just put those students on Mars to study. Everybody wins.
And Paco D, did anybody check Fort Knox for the cryptocurrency? I don't think so. No.
Oh, hold on. Oh, where is it? I think I've got. I think Rowdy Introvert said something about. Oh yeah, right here. I like this tweet here. This came in yesterday from Rowdy Introvert about the gold at Fort Knox. Hearing the excuse that you don't need to go to Fort Knox because you know the gold is all there reminds me of my son telling me that we don't need to see his room because we know that it's been fully and completely cleaned and organized.
I want to know where to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, we might want to just check anyway.
Yeah,
let me just check your room anyway.
Trust but verify.
Let me just take a peek in that vault anyway, because I know it's there. So let me just look. I just want to see all that beautiful, beautiful gold bullion.
I haven't seen it in a while. You know?
Right. All right. So, did you hear about the American-backed Gaza aid distribution centers that we put up in the Gaza Strip?
Oh, this doesn't sound good.
No, it had a little bit of a bumpy beginning, but a successful first day in operation. Get this, we distributed on day one over 460,000 meals, despite a Hamas roadblock, stampedes, and long lines.
Wow.
No, wait, why if you're Hamas, would you want to stop aid coming in?
Indeed. What a great question that is.
Because I keep hearing about starvation and genocide and whatnot,
right.
And then you're saying
and then we're trying to distribute meals to you, and you're stopping it. Why? What's going on? Also, has there ever been a nation on this planet like ours? We conduct this massive effort to feed people that we have virtually nothing in common with. We don't share language. We don't share culture, religion, goals, alliances, nothing. All completely different. These people were some of those who were celebrating in the streets of the West Bank and Gaza on 9/11 after what happened to us happened. They have terrorists for leaders who block the distribution of aid and are at war with arguably our second strongest ally. I mean, we tried to build a port for them so that they could more easily get and receive aid. And what they do while we were building, they attacked our people.
Yeah, serious injuries.
They tried to kill our people who were there to help them. And what's been the response this time? Now that we've distributed 460,000 meals to people who are literally starving? Well, a few hours later, Gazans broke the blockade and got into these long lines to receive boxes. And so they got flour, sugar, chocolate spread. Chocolate spread. Is that Nutella? I'll bet that's Nutella, and they just didn't want to promote it. But rice, canned corn, pasta, tea, sunflower oil, tuna, and more. And this time, Gazans actually cheered the American contractors and shouted, "Thank you, America."
Good.
How about that? I mean, there's a feel-good story. We're actually doing something Christ-like, and they're actually appreciating it this time. That's nice. Maybe this will make a difference, and they'll get rid of their terrorist leadership. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. Yeah, right. And can we get something named after Quindarius Stanley? He was the young man who died on that Gaza pier that was set up there that you never heard anything about what happened to him when he was injured and then later died from his injuries. How about we name something after Quindarius Stanley over there?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Man. I mean, that whole thing just completely goes unmentioned. All of the efforts that we were making to try to make things better for the Gazans, and Hamas wouldn't let us. They just wouldn't let us. And yet we're the bad guy? Not this time. So maybe something's sinking in now over there. I sure hope so. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has declined to review free speech involving a student who wore only 2 genders on his T-shirt.
Wow, that's terrible.
Can you imagine what kind of hysteria that must have created in the school that thinks there's infinite genders?
It did.
It did, yeah.
I mean, this is the insanity of our country.
This is what we talked about at the beginning of the show. This is the kind of insanity that we're dealing with, and Trump is trying to do something about. But the Supreme Court is not helping. They declined to hear a case involving that Massachusetts student who got banned from school for wearing the T-shirt that just said only 2 genders.
Ooh,
and then
terrible.
The story spins it in that it was criticism of the transgender movement. Is it? Or is it just stating a fact that there are 2 genders?
Think about that.
Incredible.
Think about that. It's not hate speech. It's a statement of fact.
Right.
And I'm so pissed at the Supreme Court for not even looking at this case because
me too.
It therefore bans and the school wins.
They keep doing this. They keep doing it. They won't rule on these really important issues that need to be decided.
And think of this: the only 2 justices, right, that wanted to hear the case, Alito and Thomas. I mean, this isn't a vote. They're just saying we want to hear this case.
Right. The student was Liam Morrison, and he brought the case through his father and stepmother. The plaintiffs argue Nicole's middle school violated his free speech when they banned him from wearing 2 T-shirts to school with the words, "There are only 2 genders," and there are... okay.
Yeah, then he came back.
And then there are censored genders on the front. I don't know what word that was.
Oh, no, that's the shirt. They wouldn't allow that one either.
Yeah.
There are only censored genders.
Okay, so there wasn't an actual...
No, I know. It just...
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that...
It's ridiculous. And we're not, again, as you're reading the story, this isn't some crazy European country. This isn't far-left Canada.
This is
United
Massachusetts.
States of America.
He was sent home both times when he refused to change shirts. The school argued the shirts made classmates feel unsafe. They felt unsafe. His shirt makes them feel unsafe from his shirt. Send them home then. They shouldn't be out in public. It's too scary a place for them. If they're scared by a T-shirt with words on it... Come on.
We can do that remote learning thing that you enjoyed so much a few years ago and go back.
These are the same people that believe that a finger gun is illegal in school.
Yeah. Well, it's a class 2. It's a class
3.
3?
I don't know. It was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. What is
class 2
Niner.
Something firearm.
It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Very bad.
Especially if your finger gun was loaded.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Because you can't put a safety on a finger gun.
Or put 2 finger guns out.
Gee. All right, now you're getting ridiculous.
And what if it's an automatic finger gun? I mean, then you can fire unlimited rounds.
Well, those have been banned.
Right? Have they?
Those are
okay,
banned.
good. Whew.
And don't look at the ground and look at that look-alike gun stick. Because then...
Then, yeah. I mean, people will be passing out, dying from the fake bullets that are hitting them. So...
What a country.
Oh, my gosh.
See, it's stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority says that we're on the right track. Then you read a story like that and you're like...
Then you think, are we, though? Are we?
Right.
Well, this is what I was talking about, though. President Trump is making an effort on so many of these fronts, virtually all of these fronts, and So it will get better. We are on the right track because he's trying to do something about it. Now, the lefties are fighting back every step of the way and trying to make it impossible for him to do anything about it. But it would be nice, wouldn't it, to return to common sense? Just a little bit of common sense?
Sure would be.
Incredible.
I'm not going to detail some of the shirts that were roaming the halls of my middle school in the early 90s, but they were quite offensive, especially compared to that shirt on that kid.
Yeah, there are two genders. Come on. You feel unsafe because I have that on my T-shirt? Stop it. Stop it.
What are we doing?
How can you, as a thinking adult human being, as a grown person, think that it's okay for these children to feel... What you do is make an announcement to the school, T-shirts can't hurt you. Okay? His T-shirt can't hurt you. Move along, kids. We're done here. I mean, how many people even complained about it? 1, 2?
Oh, I don't know.
But it was a teacher who got offended.
It was a teacher?
Plus, the brainwashing is so thick, I bet there are dozens of kids. They're like, oh my gosh,
so
that shirt is going to...
Is that a level 2
I can't even
lookalike
get
shirt?
to the next
A level 2 lookalike firearm. That's what it is. Maybe the shirt is even level 3.
Yeah.
The shirt is assaulting kids in the hall. That's a problem.
Assaulting kids in the hall.
Yep, right.
I mean, raise your kids with... this is the residual of the participation trophy generation.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
the American Idol, we see the kids come in that have never been told that they suck at singing, and then they get in front of Simon and everybody, and
then they realize for the first time in their lives, oh my gosh,
really?
How dare you say I'm not great? My parents have told me forever that I'm the best singer in the world.
So that kind of mindset has just been building for decades to the point where the phrase "there are two genders" is enough to send them into convulsions. Yep. And the next thing you know, we're literally going to court over this.
Asinine. Really is. But that's one of the reasons you subscribe to The Blaze, right? The Blaze TV. When you do subscribe, you're not just watching content. You're supporting a movement. You're backing creators who think for themselves, who speak boldly, who won't be silenced by big tech or corporate media, who aren't being told what to talk about, who aren't being scared. We're not scared by T-shirts. Even if they're T-shirts with writing on it that we disagree with, doesn't scare me.
No.
Doesn't scare me at all. I wouldn't break out in tears over it. So we're shining a light on all of these problems, and it's thanks to you that we're able to do this. So if you want all of this content delivered on your terms, on any device, anytime, it starts at just $8 a month, and if you use my promo code PAT, that's like 26 cents per day for your subscription. So go to blazetv.com/Pat, enter the promo code PAT at checkout, 26 cents a day to become a part of this movement. blazetv.com/Pat.
Subscribe today at blazetv.com/Pat. Pat Gray Unleashed. We'll be right back.
You know, we haven't mentioned yet what happened to Steve Doocy on Fox News.
Wait,
something we predicted months ago.
Something happened?
Yeah, something happened to Steve Doocy on Fox and Friends in the morning.
Okay.
There was Ainsley, right?
Yes.
She's in the middle. Right. You got on either side Brian Kilmeade and Steve Doocy.
Okay.
Well, introduced into that cozy little couch thing that they do every morning was our friend Lawrence, and
Blaze alumni.
We said at the time, wow, they're not going to have 4 on that couch for very long.
Lawrence crowded.
They're bringing in Lawrence to replace old Steve, who's getting a little bit long in the tooth.
Couldn't have seen that coming.
And sure enough, last week they had his last day on the couch and wished him a hearty hi-ho. He's going to do special segments in Florida.
Which is what we said. We said he would do stuff from the road.
He's going to be
something.
a roving reporter now. And won't be on every day, but he'll be on sometimes. Right now, he's doing one of those roving reports.
So
I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him. How old is he?
That's a great gig, Pat.
I think he's 67, 68.
So he's probably retired down there.
Yeah, it's
and then every
fine.
now and then he grabs
You're
a mic
right.
and a cameraman and goes, let's go do this. And then one
That's
day
fine.
you'll be sitting around watching Fox and Friends and you'll say, I haven't seen Steve Doocy on in about 6 months.
Yep.
And then
that's because he's gone.
in the hierarchy at Fox, they won't acknowledge it. Because they'll say,
they
we
will
already
not.
did the farewell thing back in...
Right, yeah, we told you.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with ageism. What? No.
How dare you bring that up, Pat?
Yeah, so now it's Lawrence, Ainsley, and Brian. And soon, Brian will also be
I was about to
replaced.
say...
And our friend Will Kane
will be on the couch.
will replace him. Watch it happen.
Start the clock.
It's going to happen.
That's two Blaze alumni.
For now, they placated Will by giving him a show, I think, in the afternoon,
The
right?
afternoon, yes.
Yeah. So
Steve Doocy
we'll see.
is 68.
Oh, okay.
And Brian Kilmeade is...
55.
He's got to be pushing 60.
61.
61!
Yeah. So,
wow.
like
He
2 more
doesn't look
years.
it, though.
No.
He doesn't look it. So that's great.
So start the clock. When is Will Kane going to take up that spot on the couch?
2 years. 2 years.
2 years?
2?
2.
Yeah, I'd give it 2 years. But
then he can then say to his attorney, look, they gave Steve till he was 68.
yeah.
I'm only 63. What's the deal? It's going to be interesting to see it play out.
It's going to happen. It's just how patient Will is. That's going to be the key
That's
to
another
to
one,
when
too,
Brian
yes.
leaves. How patient Will be.
How old is Will Kane?
40s,
I think he's in his
right?
40s, yeah, for sure, because he was... How old is he?
All right,
48,
you want to talk about
49?
somebody who looks good for their age, and no, I'm not hitting on him, but I'm thinking about it. 50 years old.
No.
Wow.
Will is 50? Wow.
5-0.
Oh, that's crazy.
Look at that, huh?
Oh, he looks great.
Wow, yeah, he does. I mean, I thought he
saw
was
him
like
first.
17 when he was on that Blaze Roundtable thing we did. No.
Real news?
No. Yeah, real news.
Real news, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you see this picture, actually. Sorry, Joe. Joe's having a seizure in there trying to keep up with me. I mean, you see that picture, and you're like, how the hell?
Yeah,
like,
no
obviously,
way.
that wasn't taken yesterday, but still.
Still,
Kane
Will is
doing
well
something
preserved
right.
at
Yeah.
50. That's
So I don't know if
good for
Fox
him.
is willing to put a 50-year-old up there. They might go a bit younger than 50.
I don't know. Because he looks like he's 30.
Right.
So
Fair.
they still might go with him. We'll see. But I think Brian has some time because he doesn't look his age either. Right. All right. Former FBI Director James Comey. Remember the 86-47 thing on the beach? He and his wife were walking down the beach hand in hand. You know, it was a beautiful day. We're taking a walk. We're in love still. And we looked down, and there's a bunch of shells that someone had arranged on the beach that said 86-47. And my wife thought, oh, isn't that fun?
Is that an
must
address?
be an address
Yeah.
or a recipe
Sure.
from a restaurant. Is that what that is? And he's like, yeah, honey, I think it is. And she said, why don't you post that? Because I think it's adorable. And he's like,
that's audio from
all
the
right,
walk.
okay, I will. Because, yeah, you're right. That's probably a recipe or an address of a restaurant with really good recipes. Something.
Or a PIN code for a debit card.
Right? Yeah, so, let me just post that. Anyway, he was asked about it. Is this, who's asking him? Wolf Blitzer?
There's somebody else who I'm surprised is still good for him.
Yeah, no kidding. What is he, 80?
103. Let's see. Wolf Blitzer age. Hold on.
Boy, they gave him a co-star now, so he has to co-host the
really?
show.
They gave him,
Wow.
yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
77 for Wolf.
77.
Holy
Holy cow.
He's got to be the oldest,
Oldest?
like the
I think
longest
so.
running CNN
Has to be.
Yes.
person.
Because, I mean, you remember him during the first Gulf War?
Right.
Big time. Yeah. All the time you're watching Wolf Blitzer. That was back before CNN was the progressive garbage hole it is now. All right. Anyway, here's James Comey with Wolf.
You famously drew the ire of President Donald Trump, as you will, of course, remember. He fired you back in 2017, but now you're back in his crosshairs.
When did I get fired?
Posting a photo online of seashells spelling out 8647, which has become a popular social media code for removing Trump from the presidency. You said you willingly met with the U.S. Secret Service about all of this, so you took the post down and said you did not realize at the time it could be associated potentially with violence, and you assumed it was a political message. What did you think the message was?
I thought it was a message of political opposition to Donald Trump done in a very clever way in seashells on a gigantic beach.
And that's not what he said before. Really? Do you remember what he said before? He said, my wife said it was something like
a home address.
A home address of something, and you might want to post that. And now that was so preposterous. He's only admitting opposition to the president. That's not about killing him.
Right.
Even though it came from the mob. When they want you to kill somebody, drive them 8 miles out of town and bury them 6 feet under. That's where the 86
So in other words,
from.
He's still lying, but he's just
still lying,
changing
but now,
the lie a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so let's see the rest of this. Jeez.
I thought it was a message of political opposition to Donald Trump done in a very clever way in seashells
super clever.
on a gigantic beach. And I had never heard, actually still haven't credibly heard the numbers 86 associated with murder. But if people were going to say that, which never occurred to me, I don't want that on my Instagram post. And so I took it down.
What do you say to those who are claiming you're seeking the spotlight with posts like that and speaking out against President Trump?
Yeah, I don't get that. My Instagram posts are a series of family, politics, and books. And so I want my followers, which is not the world, to follow it and to be amused by it, educated by it, enjoy it. That's my goal.
That's a former FBI director just lying through his teeth. Again. I didn't know anything about 86 being removing somebody like killing them. Shut up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Yeah. And welcome. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. The new FBI Director, Kash Patel, was on with Brett Baer last night and asked the question that I would like asked every day of Kash Patel. Where is the Jeffrey Epstein file? Where is it? Where are they? Or the multiple files? Where is that? Don't tell me about the videos, because we don't need to see the videos.
Oh, you don't want this clip.
Oh, boy. Oh, my. All right. We'll get into that in just a second. But first, let me tell you about this great new movie called The Last Rodeo. It's a story about grit, redemption, good old-fashioned family values. And it started last week. We got a chance to see a preview copy of it before it debuted in theaters. Fantastic movie. You're going to love this movie. It's from Angel Studios, who just do really good movies. The King of Kings, Homestead, Sound of Freedom. Now, The Last Rodeo. It's an action-packed story that shares the tale of Joe Wainwright, played by Neil McDonough, an aging retired champion bull rider, and his daughter Sally, who faced a crisis that can only be solved by Joe entering and winning a bull riding competition. This is years after he's retired, and so he's got to go through this whole thing. And it's just a great ride. And he's got to confront his demons and consider sacrifice, which he could make the ultimate sacrifice because he's got some issues now, having been a bull rider for so long. So just go to angel.com and purchase your tickets, angel.com/unleashed, and get your seats for The Last Rodeo. It's in theaters right now. I encourage you to see it. You're going to love this movie. It was, I think, 5th over the weekend?
Yeah,
5th or 6th?
It got a 94 on Rotten Tomato.
94? That's a really good score. So it's fresh.
Yes.
It's not the squished tomato.
It's not squished.
It's the fresh tomato.
I love it.
All right. Angel.com/unleashed. The Last Rodeo.
Unleashed.
So here was Kash on with Brett Baer, and what he had to say about the Epstein files last night.
Doesn't he address Comey first? Is that the first clip we have?
Oh, did we not play Comey? Yeah, we played Comey.
We
the
played
86
Comey,
on the beach.
But we also have a clip of Patel addressing Comey.
Okay.
James Comey. If he wants to come after me,
you're right.
No problem. I've been living rent-free in that guy's head for years, and that's just a bonus. Do you know how many copycats we've had to investigate as a result of that beachside venture from the former director? Is that right? Do you know how many agents I've had to take offline from chasing down child sex predators, fentanyl traffickers, terrorists? Because everywhere across this country, people are popping up on social media and think that a threat to the life of the President of the United States is a joke, and they can do it because he did it. That's what I'm having to deal with every single day. And that's what I'm having to pull my agents and analysts off because he thought it was funny to go out there and make a political statement.
Oof. Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Yep. That's
so no harm done, right, James? Yeah. And you know what? He understands all of that. He's the former director of the FBI. James Comey knows all of what Kash Patel just said. He knows that's true. He knows the repercussions, the consequences of doing something this freaking stupid.
My wife and I are just taking a walk on the beach, and we saw these seashells. We thought, hey, it's going to be funny. Hey, honey, I'm going to post this online, okay?
My followers like my Instagram for when I talk about books and recipes and family stuff.
Unreal.
Can we? We got to address something else on this. Can we pause it about 5 seconds into that clip, Joe? Would you please put the two shot of both gentlemen?
Oh no, are the socks showing?
Oh no, I don't worry about the socks just yet. Let's worry about the size of these chairs.
If there's socks that don't go up to the pants, it's going to be a problem.
No, I think the socks are well hidden.
Okay.
No calves are showing.
Oh, good. Okay, no skin.
But
no
the
skin
chairs
whatsoever.
Look like, are they high chairs that they're sitting in? Because
yeah, look at that.
Like Patel's feet are like 8 feet off the ground.
Right? Yeah.
What is going on there?
And why are they in a gym somewhere?
I think that's the FBI
That's behind
gym.
the scenes. They're just trying.
Okay.
They did the shooting range with the Bongino and Patel clip interview last week.
Just talk to him in his office. This is stupid. With the high chairs and their feet don't touch. I did not notice that.
If I am either of those guys, I'm saying no. We'll do it. I'll stand for this interview.
Let's not do the chair on stilts
I
thing.
will sit on the floor before I sit in a chair that looks like it's in front of a tourist trap restaurant.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, come on.
No, that's a dumb shot.
Keith.
That was a
good eye.
That's important.
It is.
But at least no skin was showing.
No skin was showing on the socks.
Okay, so that's
no
the saving
shins
grace
involved here. Yeah.
No,
this is
no
the
calves,
one good thing
no
about it.
shins we're showing.
Thank you.
Oh, golly.
Okay.
That is a dumb shot, though.
It's
How did
the
Fox
worst.
look at that and say, yep, this is where we're taping this?
Or do it
Right
tighter
here.
so that we don't see their feet dangling off of a high
But how
chair.
else are we going to see fidelity and bravery?
Okay.
There's also the
I saw that,
the tags on the wall.
Yeah. That was important.
All
to
right.
see
Yes.
that. Important.
So he did address the Epstein stuff. Huh?
Okay. And here's that.
All right.
Conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Okay.
All right.
Boy, that is.
Okay.
That's not convincing.
No. I'm telling you, you can tell me anything. You can tell me pigs fly as well. I'm not going to believe that either. Okay.
But close your eyes for an uncomfortable amount of time while you say it, too, like he did.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Let's play that again. Watch this. Just watch his eyes. I just don't believe this at all.
But there is a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
There are.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you, he killed himself.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And look down to the right.
I'm telling you right now, he killed himself. I can't see you. I can't see you right now. You can't see me. Even though I'm lying to your face right now.
Feels like it.
It does.
Let's see.
I'm sorry, I just don't believe it. It defies all reason that all of those things that we know are true happened by coincidence. You know, the fact that he didn't have a cellmate. Okay, all of the all of the surveillance cameras go out just in his area. The attendants on duty are playing solitaire or something on their computer and not watching. Nobody checks on him for all of this time. They haven't had a suicide in that jail for something like 45 years up until that time because they take all these precautions and none of them were taken at this particular moment. Okay.
Well, maybe if he were a high-profile inmate.
Oh, right.
That had dirt on really powerful and important people, especially politicians.
Yeah, then you'd try to do something.
Then you'd be like, hey, we need to keep an eye on this guy 24/7. But absent that, if it's just a regular run-of-the-mill inmate that's not awaiting a trial like that.
Just some regular Joe.
Yeah,
we don't check on him. So, yeah, weren't they shopping online?
I think that was one of the things.
Wasn't even solitaire. They're shopping online.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right. And then his neck bone was broken in such a way that normally occurs with strangulation, not hanging.
I'm not letting this go. In fact, this is the topic. Kash Patel and all this Epstein stuff and Bongino. Steve Friend, former FBI agent, is going to be my guest today on my live stream on X at 3 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to go through, we're going to do a start-stop, the entire interview here. And this is unacceptable. I don't believe this. But we have another clip, though, right, of Patel?
Okay. There's more on the Epstein thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else.
There it is.
I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever. But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format.
Then maybe you shouldn't have said, day one, I'm releasing these files. I don't know. It just doesn't add up.
There's more.
Does it? Yeah. It doesn't add up.
No, it does not.
It does not.
Nope.
It does not.
All right. Let him go.
To get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Next caller.
I'm sorry. I'm just starting to
that's
dislike.
Next caller.
Just dislike. Not just what's going on. I'm starting to dislike him. I don't want to. I really like Kash Patel. But this really pisses me off.
It's a different version of Kash Patel. It's not the Kash Patel that we all fell in love with on podcasts, who swore, that things were going to change. It's going to be a brand new FBI. We're going to release the truth.
He shouldn't have gotten our hopes up like this.
Exactly right. Especially when you add in the debacle of this. No, we got him right here. Woohoo! Look at that. Oh no!
But it's on her desk.
When you couple that with what he is saying, it's a mess.
Well, and that's what we heard. We heard before he took office that day one, man, I'm releasing this, and then we heard it's on Pam's desk, and so this is coming right out. And then
Pam
months
is saying that
later,
video that we have to go through.
Right
now, as big of a thing that this is with the Epstein files, I'm actually more pissed off about the lack of any interest, it seems, in getting to the bottom of the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt of Donald Trump.
Well, he says he's working on that.
Yeah, he's working on. Well, we didn't pull this clip, but he kind of snickered during this when Brett Baer brought that up. He's like,
oh no,
really? And he's like, well, I could talk about that because he's dead, and that's it. It
was just him.
Yeah, I should find that clip. I mean, it is for real. You want us to believe that? I am not buying this, and it's
frustrating.
It feels like
just feels like we're being deceived again. Yep. And I'm so tired of being deceived.
It feels like meet the new boss, same as the old boss, and I don't care for that at all.
Yeah, neither did the Who back in the day. So. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
If I knew the next lyric, I'd join you. I just know the song.
Won't get fooled again.
Yeah.
I think that's
the very next line. Okay,
meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
But we are getting fooled again, and I'm getting sick and tired of it because we had so much We had high hopes. We had so much trust in these guys, and it just doesn't feel like we're getting 100%.
He's not delivering so far.
Yeah, and
that's for sure.
It hurts. It hurts.
Yeah, it does. Let me tell you about Kexi cookies. They're delicious, and we've got the Father's Day box that is out right now. It's beautiful. It's more importantly on the inside, really delicious cookies. These are fantastic. Several of the cookies are going to be leaving our menu, but by the way, this is also selling really, really fast. So it's going to sell out probably this week. If you want the Father's Day box delivered by Father's Day, order it today. Cutoff is actually June 7th, but it'll sell out before that. They always do. So go to Kexi.com and order yours, and you'll get the delicious cookies in it. One of my favorites of all time, the Texas sheet cake. I mean, every cookie that comes out that Jackie develops becomes my favorite. They're so delicious. You know, it started with her chocolate chip cookie, and that's all she did at first. And now she's branched into so many of these, and you're going to love them. And there's several cookies that go off our menu for a while, starting on June 1st. So you want to get those as quickly as you can. The blueberry lemon, white chocolate strawberry, the honey pistachio, the almond croissant, German chocolate, and the M&M will be making room for some other delicious flavors. But check out this review from Brady, who said, these cookies are absolutely fantastic. Thank you for making them big enough to split 4 ways, or things would have gotten out of hand at our house. I highly recommend and will definitely order again. Way better than the famous poison cookie brand that crumbles. I don't know who you could be talking about there.
That's awesome.
But let me tell you about I should maybe save this for Jeffy because he was complaining about, where's that s'mores cookie cup?
I'm
actually
a freeloader.
Do have one in the Father's Day box.
Oh, yeah, let me see what it's like.
So
Let's see.
delicious.
I take a close look at that if I could.
You want to?
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yep, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Take the camera off.
So much for saving it for Jeffy.
Yeah, I don't
there
want
it
Jeffy
goes.
seeing this.
There it goes.
It's gonna break
All right.
his heart.
Kexi.com. Kexi. Kexi.com.
And now, Pat Gray returns.
Okay. We're going to get that clip, hopefully before the end of the show, where Kash is talking about what?
That's where Brett Baer asks Kash Patel about the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I hope that I sent you the right timestamp on that, Chris. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
I mean, it's hard to believe that guy, just did it alone. Everything's fine other than the fact that he tried to kill the president and did kill one of the audience members and wounded 2 others. So other than that, there's nothing unusual, nothing to see here. Move along. Guy's dead. It's all over.
Yeah, and you recall there was a private investigator who filed a report that said, there's a lot. It's a much larger conspiracy, and I still want some information on the pings of the cell tower near the FBI building. Okay, you said you do have it queued up, Chris?
He does have it.
It sounds like he wants more about at least the Butler guy that we don't know a lot about. Will we know a lot more about him? Is there more to know?
I don't know that there's more to know, but you're going to know everything we know. And that's the other thing we did. We take assassination attempts, and especially the President of the United States, extremely seriously. And we don't feel that the American people have been given the information they need on that.
Yeah,
and
I don't feel that
we're digging
either.
through the files, and we're getting them a more robust picture of what happened and whether or not there were any connections.
I get all that, and I also understand investigations underway, and there's potential prosecutions for people who are living, but he's dead. And we knew a lot more about a lot of different people than we know about that guy. And there's people that circulate all kinds of stuff, that it was an inside job or there was foreign influence or whatever. Can we say that it's not that?
And that's a great example of people looking for things where things don't exist.
Wow, so
in
definitive.
In that specific case, since that individual is dead, we are able to say a lot more, unlike the Merchant case in New York, which is ongoing, and whether or not there are any connections. We have definitively given that information over.
Director Patel, stand by.
All right. So he just gave us a there's no there.
Yes.
After having said, well, they're going to know everything we know. So which is it? Are you still looking into it, or is there no there? Whatever.
He did kind of contradict himself there.
Yes,
just
he did.
a bit. Yeah.
I don't like it, man.
They also apprehended an illegal alien who composed a letter allegedly threatening to shoot and kill President Donald Trump because of the deportations the president has ordered. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted on social media that the suspect had been detained and posted an image of the handwritten letter. And she said, thanks to our ICE officers, this illegal alien who threatened to assassinate President Trump is behind bars. He wrote, we are tired of this president messing with us Mexicans. And we have done more for this country than you white people. You have been deporting my family, and I think it's time Donald J. Trump get what he has coming to him.
Okay, this doesn't sound real at all.
I will self-deport myself back to Mexico, but not before I use my 30-yard six.
Wait.
My 30-yard six? I think he means 30-06, maybe?
Yeah, that's fair.
To shoot your precious president in his head. I will see him at one of his big rallies. It's a 54-year-old from Mexico named Raymond Reyes. Yeah. And he's, by the way, been deported 9 times. In fact, he was deported 9 times between 1998 and 2005. I'll just bet. I'd make you an offer here that I think anybody would take me up on this. I'll bet you that if I'd been deported from Mexico 9 times, and then I was back for my 10th go-round as an illegal alien in Mexico, and then threatened to kill Mexico's president, who is Claudia Sheinbaum right now, I bet the Mexicans would really love me. Right? Wouldn't they just appreciate that a lot? And I'd just be expected to be set free and let go, and everything would be fine, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are pissed off that this guy has been detained. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything about it. He's just making idle threats, that's all. Yeah, you can't do that with the President of the United States. And here's another person who's been deported time after time after time and still comes back for more illegal activity. But yeah, you're right. It does. I mean, the letter sounds a little bit
FBI
fishy.
setup-ish?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, seriously, you know what? When you were reading that, it felt like the FBI letter that was a threat to Martin Luther King. It was so poorly written. It could be the guy doesn't speak English very well.
Right.
But
could be that.
I don't know. Whatever. That just sounded interesting. I'm not familiar with this case at all. I'm just going off of that letter that you read. Does not sound...
It doesn't. Well, it doesn't sound like a Mexican even.
It doesn't sound like a Mexican. Doesn't
Who
sound
speaks Spanish as his first language.
Authentic. It does. Well, he's
Yeah.
been in America so much.
Yeah,
Let's
that's true.
Give him some slack
It's
there. He's
true.
actually really good at English compared to.
It's true
because he spent so much time here. What's your excuse there, Chris?
Wow! I knew it was coming around to that.
Yeah.
I felt it.
You're gonna
Telegraph that.
but okay.
Felt it coming on.
My bad. So I don't know, man.
Weird.
I hope that
Maybe
this
he
guy.
used ChatGPT.
Do you want this guy deported, or do you want him locked
No, I want him
away?
locked up.
Yeah.
CCOT.
Yeah, I want him locked
Send him
up.
to
There.
CCOT.
Or that.
If you're threatening
Would be
the
fine.
president of the United States, it's the El Salvador prison for you.
Yes.
Definitely.
Unacceptable.
Coming up in overtime, we're going to hear from Randy Weingartner. She was on C-SPAN yesterday, and she had a chat with a caller about school closures during COVID.
Yes.
You know, she wasn't for that. She
No,
wanted them.
she wasn't.
She wanted schools to open right on up.
There's been a lot of rewriting of history, and
Oh man.
and one of those at the top of that hierarchy is
Randy Weingarten.
the teachers union chick.
Yep.
My,
Terrible.
what's clip 18 there,
ridiculous.
Chris? says?
Yeah, I know you guys like Stephen A. Smith when he gets pretty bold. He asked Jake Tapper, "Are you doing this for the money? The book?"
Oh, really?
In terms of the left, it's a money grab. I mean, that's not the case. It's not. This is I don't want to get into where my money comes from, but
wow, I'm not convinced.
CNN is my main job, and that's where my main source of income by far. Very few people write books to make money. You write a book because you want to say something, you want to have a legacy, you want to uncover something, you have a message you want to get out there. I don't think people write books about Joe Biden to make money. We are gratified that people are buying this book.
That's a good point.
But I don't think. I mean, the idea that I would do this
that was
for money
powerful right there.
It's silly and not true.
Hold on a second.
That's a good point.
Did they splice that in to make it seem like
it's
still his show?
It looked so unnatural. Looked and sounded so unnatural.
Being in this business.
That's a good point.
But
save that clip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a permanent part of the show now.
That's
a good point.
Being in this business, I've seen hosts try to make it seem like they were the ones that did the interview.
Yeah.
And somebody else recorded it and they just spliced it. That's what that was.
Yes.
That's a good point. See, I'm really here.
So every time a good point is made now, till I absolutely can't stand it anymore, we'll be hearing Stephen A. Smith. That's a good point.
And just to muck and fudge, there's a new bingo square for you.
Yep.
Okay, what was the point of playing that again? I forget.
Anyway, I don't know now, but we're gonna hear from Randy Weingarten on Overtime coming up.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.